On today's episode, we are talking about one of the oldest epics that everybody has read, and we're going to talk about whether or not it still makes sense. Mom's here. Let's do this. Good morning, everybody. My name is Rob. This is my mom, Karen, and today we're going to go over a book that I'm sure most people have probably read, at least if you're in the US. It seems to be a standard college and high school reading, whatever.
Mhm.
Um, it's the Odyssey. Yes, that Odyssey by Homer, a 3,000-year-old epic from Greece. So I will start out and say this. I went back to reread it on audio, made it through halfway. I can say two things. One, it definitely is better when I'm hearing it. However, it is still a very long and tedious book. And for those who have read it, you'll understand what that means. Did you have to read it at all? Or did you?
I remember. I don't
Yeah.
remember actually getting through the whole thing, but I remember having to read it. Is this like one of the longest books ever written, or is it? It's the stream of. I mean, it just went
I don't know if it's one of the longest ones, but it's definitely one of the longer
right.
books that I think most people have read. So, what is this story about? For those who don't know, here's the quick synopsis. The main character, Odysseus, king of Ithaca, spends 10 years fighting in the Trojan War. It then takes him another 10 years to get back home. So, that's 20 years away from family, his wife, his son, everything. The crazy part we go through is he deals with all of these monsters, he deals with the various Greek gods, he's shipwrecked multiple times, and he just basically has to go through all of these trials to get back home. So it's kind of, I guess, the hero's journey in a sense that we've talked about before,
Mhm.
where he has to go through all of these different things to make it back to safety, basically. Um, so like I said, I mean, it's a very good general epic story. It is just very long. There's actually
Well,
a word. Oh, sorry.
no, I was just gonna. I mean, he was away for 20 years. I mean, that's long. That's your teenage years and college years all rolled into one. Do you think that his relationship could have survived that? I don't know. That's a very long time.
Well, they had a word for his homecoming. The Greek word is nostos, and that literally means either homecoming or longing to return. So that is basically I think his feeling the entire time here is he really, really, really wants to get back to his family for no other reason than he's like you said, he's been out there for 20 years. It's time for him to go home and, hopefully enjoy the rest of his time there, right?
Yeah.
So it was composed, according to scholars, around the 8th or 7th century BC. And apparently, it wasn't originally meant to be read. It was performed around a fire. You would have poets come out and do various sections of it. So this was a a play in a sense,
Hmm.
which if you've read it, you'll know how well it actually works in media. It's
Yeah.
been done many
Right.
times.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I mean, you're right. That is a good question. Like how does one deal with the fact that you're away from life for 20 years?
I would think that that other partner would have moved on. I don't know. Like
I mean, in the
where oh
story, she's
where is my hubby?
definitely, many suitors come to, be like, "Hey, he's not coming back, marry me now." So there is that whole section of it where while he's trying to come home, she's also dealing with fending off a bunch of people who are
Right.
like, "Yeah, I don't think he's showing up anytime soon. It's been 20 years." You know.
What was her first clue, right?
Yeah, exactly, right?
In 20 years.
So what's the real genius of the story? The main character is more I'm sorry, brain over brawn versus many other Greek characters that are focused on the strength that they have. And, story, like the Trojan War story, a
Right.
lot of those characters in there are known to be, they might be smart, but they're basically used for their strength. Odysseus, on the other hand, most people would not make it 20 years after all the things he had to go through. So obviously his superpower was being really, really smart. And that's how he was
Mhm.
able to make it from point A back to point B. He's described throughout the book as the man of twists and turns, and he thinks his way out of things. He doesn't fight his way out of things.
Hmm.
So he is a very interesting person. He's the one that came up with the Trojan horse idea. So he's
Clever.
the guy
Very
that
clever.
on your team,
Yeah.
the guy at the computer, right? The guy who knows how to make all the things happen without having to actually physically do anything, for the most part. And then one of the main themes that we see is appearance versus reality. So as he goes through, he meets many gods and goddesses, Calypso, Athena, Poseidon, who truly hates the man. Every time he gets on his boat, Poseidon tries to sink him because he just doesn't like him. I don't, he's got a grudge for whatever reason. So it's really interesting to think about how usually when you think about these epic tales, the main character is the strong brute guy. I mean,
Right.
think Hercules for a minute. Hercules actually kind of does fit both as well. He's a very smart man as well. But Hercules is always visually shown as a super strong, very
Right.
tall.
Right. Right. Right.
He
Right.
basically has the
Right.
power of both God and mortal because he's half. Um, so from this, do we think that various cultures value cleverness over, strength? Or do you think it's kind of like you got to be patient, but maybe you do have to have a little bit of bold in you? What do we think? What do you think?
I don't know. I don't know. I think if you had asked me this question 10 years ago, I might have had a different answer. Does the world, value cleverness rather than strength? I would have said back then, the cleverness probably was ruled the day. Not so much now, and it's I think that I don't think that our world values um, cleverness. I think they value which not it's not value is not necessarily good or bad, meaning it could be a bad value, but the
Mhm.
strength. I mean, we're seeing it in
Right.
wars and we're seeing it in strife that's going on. That's I don't know. It's an interesting question.
I mean, I would say this, every culture has their stories. I
Hmm.
think it's up to the people to hold up the meanings behind
Right,
them, because
right,
I think the story could be great or
right,
bad, either way,
right,
like you said, but it's what you do with it afterwards. And you can read a story, you can share a story, but if nobody actually, I don't know, understands the story, then the story is basically for nothing
right,
if basically all you're doing is just sharing words
right,
without a meaning. So,
right.
is this something worth reading again today? Um, I mean, I put this on here kind of as a double-edged sword question. It's really obviously it's up to you at the end of the day. It's long. It's more poem than anything. I know a lot of people I've talked to are not a fan of poetry-esque story
Hmm.
or just poetry in general. And it can either feel like a really cool adventure or it could feel way too historical for some people, depending on how you look at it. I think what gets you through, I mean, I say that as if I just said I didn't finish it this last time, but I think what gets you through most of it is you're following an individual who, for the most part, is fairly sharp. He's strong in terms of, moral, and he doesn't give up. So I think if you're looking for that, it's like asking, do you prefer the hero to be the smartest or the strongest? In this case, Odysseus maybe has a little bit of both. So,
It's sort of
you
like
know,
Indiana Jones and
that's
Raiders
an
of the Lost
interesting connection, but okay. All
Ark.
right.
I mean, he would think his way through things because he had to, right?
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
but but I don't know. Maybe he could. So that would make him kind of smart, I guess. I don't know. It's another one on an adventure. I think that's what connects it. He's on an
Right.
adventure. Not 20 years. I don't think it was 20 years. Was it 20? I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know. But all I do know is that this book was incredibly long. And we
Yeah.
all, when we hear the name, we actually hear the name of the book, we go, oh, yeah, right? The Odyssey. We read it, or we heard about it, or we tried to read it, or all of that kind of stuff. We always like to encourage our viewers to go to the next chapter, bookstore.shop, where there are lots and lots and lots of books. Find one that you love. Let us know if there's a topic you would like us to discuss, because we would like to put it on our calendar. Any last thoughts, Rob? Which I already know what you're going to say.
I mean, you don't have to read this book, but I would just say go read a book.
Go read
You
a
know.
book. Goodbye, everyone.